G'day guys, I'm Zesty, and today I'm joined by one of the members of Direwolves Apex Legends roster for 2021, Ben Wxltzy Walton. Before we chat about some of your results so far with the team, Ben, let's get to know you a little bit better. So tell us the origins of Wxltzy. Is it something you've stuck with since you were young, or did it change over time?
I've probably gone through like 100 different names since back when I started on MW2. I think I went by like Ease Up Turbo, I think was probably my first ever name. But my name is obviously just comes from the last name Walton. Just Wxltzy was just something that I ended up coming up with. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much just where that comes from.
Beauty and simplicity, I guess. So talking about your origins, where did you get your start in gaming? What were the first games you played as a kid, and what really ignited your competitive passion?
Jeez. I've played every game under the sun. Hey, I couldn't even tell you what my first one was. It'd be something back on the PS1. But my first multiplayer was 100% Modern Warfare 2.
Yep.
So that pretty much, I played that just from the get-go, was just hooked. I remember, as terrible as it is, I was skipping year 7 to play Modern Warfare 2. It was bad. I was addicted from the get-go, and to this day, I still put in ridiculous hours into gaming.
Yeah, I love that. And so in order to get to where you are, I want to know what drives you to win. Is it a love for the game, or is it a love for competition?
Oh, it's both, for sure. Played footy, was always competitive in footy, weightlifting, competitive in weightlifting. Even school, the subjects that I was good at, I wanted to be the best at. Like, if I'm good at it, I want to be the best at it. If I'm not good at it, I kind of just accept defeat in the sense that you can't be good at everything kind of thing. So yeah, that's probably where that comes from.
Fair enough. And forget about defeat for a moment. I want to talk about successes. What's the proudest moment of your career so far?
Competitively, I would say, honestly, winning Pro League back on PS4 was probably like one of the highlights of my competitive career. Just going over playing 250 ping NA servers and coming second, sorry, not winning, but coming second against Summer Console's finest back in the day was probably like a highlight. Just me and the boys just having fun at the end of the day. Streaming wise would have to be getting partnered by far. Just working so hard in that 1 month just to get partner, doing 24-hour streams every week was just worth it in the end. Yeah, that'd probably be it.
Beautiful. And I want to know now, how does it feel to be a part of Direwolves now that you and the guys have joined, and what are you hoping to achieve while you're here?
I would say Direwolves to me feels like not so much a family, but more of like just a bunch of mates, really. Like from the moment we met Craig, he was just super welcoming. Even though like we hadn't signed contracts, he hadn't wooed us with anything. He honestly came and just talked to us about the game. And he was just like, we're interested in you guys just based on how you guys perform. He said like when we were sitting there screaming because we actually won the game, he was just like, that's the kind of energy we like. And he was just super welcoming. Obviously what we want to achieve is to just make Direwolves proud. That's probably like the biggest thing, because like being signed to an org, obviously we have to perform. So at the end of the day, like that's what we're here to do. So winning is obviously the number one goal in being part of Direwolves.
Great. And so obviously you were signed as a package deal with the other two blokes, and I want to know, what's it like to play with them? What would you say is your greatest combined strength?
Playing with them is a bit of a circus ride. We go through ups and downs, as I'm sure every team does. We scream at each other, we're celebrating all the time. But I would say playing with those guys, I don't think I'd pick anyone else. So what was the original question, sorry?
That's all right. I just want to know, what was your greatest combined strength, in your opinion?
I would say our greatest combined strength is the fact that there's no egos in the team, in the sense that we all have respect for each other and we all consider each other to be as good as each other. I feel like a team that has that sort of level of respect for each other, there's like almost a guaranteed success in a team that just is always on the same page. There's no I'm better than you have to listen to me. It's just, the fact that we all just get along in that sense that we are all as good as each other. I'd say that's our strength.
Great, and I think that your strengths were proven recently as you took home a win in the GLL Community Cup fairly recently. Can you talk to me about how that felt?
Oh, that was an interesting one actually. Our IGL was sick, so that was him doing the least talking and just kind of shooting his gun, and it actually worked out amazingly somehow. I would say that was a pretty great feeling. However, it was GLL Cup, so it's not as, unfortunately, I have to grade the competition. GLL Cup isn't as intense as ALGS and so forth, but GLL Cup was still, it's an amazing feeling when you win.
Yeah, great. And so you said that your IGL was obviously sick. What do you think about your performance, though, throughout that? So it seems as though it could have gone better, in your opinion, but you still ended up winning. How did you think that went?
Even when you win, there's always room for improvement. Like, even when we win, we'll still sit there 2 hours of VOD review, seeing as to, even though something worked out well, how could we have executed it even better than that? So, as far as a personal performance, again, I could always do better. I think maybe I top fragged that tournament, but still could have done better. Always can do better. Always can do better. Never satisfied us, I think, is the best way to put it.
And that's a good mentality. So, you know what they say, winning is a habit, right? And so do you think that this recent win and, your form recently will boost your form going forward, or is this just an example of the level you've always been at?
I think it's an example of the level that we can be at. However, maintaining that level in a game of RNG is definitely tough, to say the least. Unfortunately, when RNG comes into play, it makes it a little bit hard to constantly be successful. But I would say that that GLL is an example of like how we can play when everything is going right.
Great. And of course, playing in APAC North puts you against teams like T1, who are known worldwide for their presence in esports. How do you rate yourselves as contenders in the region?
So APAC North is very top-heavy. Their top teams are actually amazing teams. As far as how would we rate ourselves against them, I think there's the potential there. However, we are somewhat of a new team, so I feel like these teams that are more polished and have been playing together for like a longer period of time, they just have this fluidity about them that they already know what they need to do and how to do it. Whereas we're still finding our groove and learning these little strats, how to not to make these mistakes. So I'd say we have the potential to be at that level. I don't consider us to be at that level quite yet.
With that improvement comes a little bit of pressure to perform. Do you find there to be extra pressure being some of the few Oceanic representatives in that tournament that is so dominated by, Southeast Asia?
Not really at all, to be honest. The pressure doesn't come from anything but ourselves, really. We're not intimidated by any other teams. We're not intimidated by the fact that we are one of the few Oceania teams. The only pressure we have is the pressure that we put on ourselves. No other team can really put any pressure on us.
Great. And so enough about GLL. Which upcoming tournaments are you most excited for and why?
We have the playoffs coming up, which are qualifiers for a international LAN, I believe. So I would say that is 100% our main focus for the next, I believe, under 20 days we have till this playoffs. Obviously a lot of money in the line too. Who doesn't love money? So we are currently grinding pretty much every single day for this tournament coming up. Hopefully the goal is obviously first, and we're not happy to settle for anything less than top 3.
Great. So in order to get that, what kind of prep are you and the boys doing without giving away too much?
Too much, to be honest. We play scrims around 3 days a week. We do a little bit of stuff off stream that we obviously don't want anyone knowing that we're doing. And then we all just play individually by ourselves. As I already told you today, I'm doing 24 hours. So a lot of preparation for this tournament.
Great. Well, to wrap this all up, mate, let the people know where they can find you across socials and streaming platforms.
Stream over at Twitch, twitch.tv/Wxltzy, and YouTube and Twitter, just Wxltzy.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll all join me in cheering the guys on for their next string of tournaments and upcoming games. Thanks so much for your time, Ben, and I'm sure we'll chat to you again soon.
No, thanks for having me.
Cheers.